All right. Hello.
Yo, oh, fuck, I don't want to say that again. Dan,
you
edit
do
that
it-
out.
You do it every time.
Replace it with the sound of a duck quacking.
Welcome back to How Not to Be an Arsehole, Season 3, Episode 7.
The 173rd most popular podcast in New Zealand right now.
100 and what?
73rd.
Not bad,
Yeah. Better
But
than
it-
some, worse than others.
but it could be better. Dom, you happy the UFC's back?
Yes and no. I feel guilty because probably heaps of people are going to get coronavirus, but also I've been a bit bored.
Yeah. Our listeners may be happy or sad, but there was a couple things I did want to talk about. So, there's some good and bad to take from the UFC that isn't actually about people punching each other, right? The bad is obviously Dana White's a piece of shit. And did you see they had the media who were in attendance sign non-disparagement orders?
This is a weird thing to have in the intro because I feel like this is what you want to bring people in. This is the intro is to bringing people in, and they need to make them listen to UFC.
Yeah, probably. But here we are. Did you hear that though?
Yep.
Pretty fucking wild.
Well, he's on the fucking Donald Trump economic advisory, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
So it's not really surprising.
No, it's not. We know that he's a piece of shit now, which kind of adds to that guilt of that being
I
my
feel
favorite.
really conflicted paying my money to watch that shit, but then at the same time, you know.
It's the only sport you like?
But the whole country was the whole of New Zealand was ecstatic about being able to eat McDonald's and KFC again. So, you know, I'm in good company.
Yeah, true that. The good I took from it was, so my nephew is really starting to get into it and knows lots of fighters and stuff. And straight after the fights, he came out and was like, he's like, I want to beat Israel Adesanya and Max Holloway. And I was like, why do you like those guys? And I forget what he said, but he just said Israel's the best, but he said Max Holloway has a son my age. I was like, yeah, pretty good reasons. But straight after that, I went on my Instagram and Israel was talking about police brutality unapologetically. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, because the sport doesn't always have the most savory characters in it, right? Or the best role models. But then for the last 2 days, he's been going on about Justin Gaethje nonstop. And Justin Gaethje finished his fight and somewhat coherently said that he wants to work in human services and be a social worker. And I was like, that's kind of heartening.
Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy.
Fuck,
Anyway,
he's
welcome
the
to
man.
How Not to Be an Arsehole. It's not an MMA podcast.
We're just waiting for that to be over.
You can subscribe, listen to do the thing with the Patreon. I don't know, you're good at the grifting, Todd.
Yeah, so...
The traveling salesman, that's what Todd is.
Yeah, so... Patreon, we're up to 35 patrons. So
Sweet. You hear that, Dan?
I'm no
Your dreams of opening an ice cream truck are that much closer.
I'm no mathematician, but we're 15 away from 50, and we still haven't got enough questions through to give you guys bonus content or a bonus episode where we respond to your questions. But we're close. But
Ask some questions, you bastards.
But once we get to 50, can we guarantee we'll do a bonus episode on something?
All right.
Guarantee it.
I do. I just said all right.
Yeah,
I'm holding my hand on my heart, and I'm swearing on Dan's life at 50. Imagine if Dan died, we'd be fucked.
We'd be in...
Well, not, I mean, someone killed you because you didn't do any bonus content.
Let's just subtly talk about Dan's imminent death more, so someone who's like a engineer kind of picks up the vibe and gets at us and is like, hey, don't worry, if Dan dies, I've got you.
I just can't even think about a replacement for Dan. There's no one.
It wouldn't work, really.
Imagine someone else that would sit through this shit.
Oh, they're out there.
Are you leaving, Dan? But yeah, anyway.
Sign up to the Patreon, like, subscribe, do all that shit, vote our podcast up. Listen's going really great. We appreciate all your support.
Also, one really cool thing you can do if you can't be bothered giving money or you don't have any money, is to just tell people about it and share it and all that kind of shit, because obviously we want more people to listen to it, because as much as we're rambling idiots, you know, I think there's some important conversations going on, especially in this episode that you're about to listen to. We're talking about mental health, we're talking about success, having a child. Not that any of us have children, but I've got a dog. Dan's got a cat.
And
Todd's got a drinking problem.
We have some excellent guests coming up too that we're really
I've got two really
about.
exciting guests, one of which I haven't confirmed yet.
Ooh, I just had an idea for that 50 patrons bonus episode.
What's that, Todd?
Let's go down the list of the Occam nominees, and whoever says yes first will read the book. Encourage patrons or listeners to read the book, and then we'll
Man,
get
that's some
that.
niche shit.
That's the what? The what?
I said that's some niche shit.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I reckon we try and get the woman that won. Like,
yeah, I would like to.
there's actually another writer that was long listed who's really awesome that we could potentially talk to.
Oh yeah, so
Yes, sir.
yeah, so if we're able to get the woman that won, I have her name written down actually. It is it?
This is a real long shot thing. Why don't we just say?
No,
This is a conversation to have, not recording the podcast.
but then we can make it happen.
Anyway,
read "Aware" by Becky Manawa too, because we're going to get her on the podcast.
roll the music there.
All right, this week's guest is a dear old friend of ours. He is an artist of a couple of mediums and singer in a band, and Joel Birch.
Fuck, I could have done way better. I'll do one.
Yeah, you do it, Dom.
All the way from sunny, where are you? In Queensland.
I'm in Queensland.
All the
This
way
is
from
going
sunny
well.
Queenstown. Photographer, drawer, singer, Joe Birch. There you go. Dan, you can
Yep.
just fix it up in post.
Done.
I had a crowd.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. Sitting in a car.
We haven't interviewed anyone from a car before.
Oh, you have now.
Yeah.
I live to give.
Yeah, well, and as you can see, we're consummate professionals, so we're not even shaken in the slightest.
You've got like, you're in the rap booth. You've repurposed your rap equipment.
We're
Yeah.
not doing any rapping anymore.
Yeah, because it's
No.
not.
Long behind us.
It'd be undignified. Like, podcast isn't like the height of dignity, but it's better than rapping when you're 40.
Maybe I'll start rapping when I'm 40 and see what happens.
Yeah,
I just might lose my mind enough to do it.
yeah, like Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, I forgot about his short-lived rap career.
I'd be about that good, I reckon.
Yeah, he created some buzz.
Do you think
wasn't that
film-
like wasn't that like a really horrible, like abusive mockumentary? Didn't they fuck a whole lot of people up doing that?
Possibly, yeah, because I
It was
think
him and Casey Affleck.
yeah.
Yeah, and people keep trying to Me Too both of them, and it's just not working for some reason.
Oh, really?
Sure.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think Casey Affleck was like mad. I don't know. You have to look it up. I don't know the specifics, but I think Joaquin Phoenix might have just either not done anything or joined in character.
Ah,
But
yeah, he took
Yeah.
that.
Doing that
He
film.
like method acted a mockumentary and took it to the.
yeah,
I'm not.
I always wondered with that film, though, if maybe it wasn't quite as much a mockumentary as they make out. You know, like
maybe he did just lose his mind because
Yeah.
he's really cooked. He's a cooked man.
Yeah. I could take or leave Casey Affleck, but I'd like to continue liking Joaquin. So
Yeah, same.
disappointing.
He's very good.
Disappointing to hear that they're pricks, but hey,
Yeah. Is anyone in Hollywood not a prick?
There's got to be a couple people, right?
What about?
But
For
if
some
they're
reason, I
not
wanted to
pricks,
say Nicolas Cage, even though I'm sure that he's probably the worst.
He has such
I
an
think
asshole
I don't think
face.
I don't know
Everyone
if he
loves
was a prick.
Keanu.
He was just a fucking idiot. Keanu's the man. That's true.
You know,
There you
man?
go. One.
Well,
George
we watched
Clooney.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure not that long ago, and it really stands up. It's a way better film than I would have thought.
Oh shit! Is it?
I mean,
I'm
I
gonna
was
watch
pretty
it. I'm gonna
stoned.
watch it. I'm gonna watch it and review your
Yeah.
nostalgia.
Is it age appropriate for a 6-year-old? I've got my nephew here, and I'm trying to, you know, kind of.
Yeah, I reckon it is because I wouldn't have been much. I mean, how would I would have been probably? Oh, actually, no, I probably would have been 12 or something.
And your
Kind of-
parents were lunatics.
They didn't like me watching American stuff.
Yeah,
like
that's
anything. If it was Eastern European, could have any amount of sort of sex and violence. But if it was American, no.
Oh,
Turn
it's
that shit
uncultured, isn't it?
That's why I ended up so cultured, Joel.
Yes.
Do you want to meet my
I don't-
dog, Joel?
Sure. Is it on the wall?
That is him, but I'll get the real thing. Hold on a sec. Todd,
Okay.
you fill in while I
Yeah,
go.
I'll hold it down, and I did want to just reiterate that point that you need a good amount of European movie sex to culture you, right?
You do. You do. You know what was I doing the other day?
Having
I
European sex.
saw. No, I was fucking just on the internet somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but speaking of culture and being young, and SBS would play these like Asian movies that ended up just had the most hectic softcore porn scenes in them.
Sick.
And I was like a good little Christian boy, and it just blew my mind. And I saw some kids talking about like one of them I had watched that they had made a sequel, but recently, and I was just like, wow, they're still at it.
Amazing.
Still,
This is Chili, Joel. Prince Chili.
Prince Chili. Hang on a second.
I knew this was
Can't-
going to
you can't see
happen.
him?
I knew this would happen once the dog returned.
Well, the listeners wanted to know. People were writing to me saying, "Where's the dog? When he's coming back?"
The
Don't
dog.
use my-
That photo is disingenuous.
Well, he's put on a bit of weight and he hasn't had a haircut, like all of us
Look at
during
his-
lockdown.
Look at him. Look at his. He doesn't look anything like the picture.
Well, I'm not looking too flash either, but you know.
No, you look fine.
Do you think someone like ran over your original dog, Dom, and then replaced it with a fake?
I'll tell you a story. So, a few months ago, he vanished, and we couldn't find him anywhere. And we put up these posters, and we were like, "Where's the dog?" It was all over the internet. Strangers were coming out and helping us search in the street, and I was
5G.
beside myself.
Is there
Is
a
that a-
5G tower?
And then the pound rang up, and they said, "We think we've got your dog." And I was like, "What does he look like?" And they described him, and I was like, "Well, if it's not my dog, it is now." And we went and got him.
Because you could just take a different dog, and just kind of.
Fuck yeah. But they didn't check anything. I mean, what are they going to do? They're just like, "Is this your
Does he-
dog?" I was like, "Yeah."
Does he respond to his name or his?
Well, he didn't before anyway, so
Which is ideal if you're looking for a replacement dog.
fuck, he fucking went me last night. We got his water pistol that we squirt him with to keep him under control. And he just didn't give a fuck. He's still coming, and I was squirting him with the pistol, and it was horrible. I was really stoned. I've had these edibles lately.
Oh man, this is great. The only thing I've laughed at today is a cop eating shit on a bike. So this is fantastic.
Oh, great.
I watched it over and over again. It was brilliant.
Speaking of.
I'm sure I've told this story on the podcast before, but one time when we were in Berlin, I woke up and all I could hear was Todd and Joel, our friend Joel Rickaby, laughing hysterically in another room. And I come out and they're doing coke at 8 a.m. and watching videos of cops getting beaten up on YouTube.
And we'd all made a pact the night before that we'd do no cocaine the next day during the day.
Oh yeah. Well,
speaking of
that's a
drugs,
stupid pact.
Yeah, it is stupid. Speaking of drugs and getting stoned, I got stoned for like the first time in, I don't know, 2 years the other night. And I drew a weed leaf on my nephew's arm and wrote Dak in the middle of it, and now it won't come off.
Did you do it
Does
with a
his
tattoo
parents
gun?
know?
I think all his father knows, and I think he gave me a disapproving look. I don't know if his mother's seen it yet.
His mum's going to give you a hiding.
Yeah, he's got to go home tomorrow.
So his
and,
mum's a champion kickboxer
Yeah, I was like,
for the listeners.
scrub it off, Marley. It's terrible.
How old were you when you lost your religion, Joel?
23.
Was it pretty?
So quite old.
Drunk and Disorderly tour.
Oh,
You might have been on it, Todd.
wasn't I on the second one? Was there two?
You were on the second one.
What
not
was the
first
Drunk
one.
and Disorderly tour?
It was like us and D's Nuts and Daylight Curse. It was just all the DTDers.
When I met you, Jesus Christ definitely wasn't inside you anymore.
No, so it happened very fast. I read The God Delusion and then got filled with rage.
Yeah, you're real angry at God too.
Oh, rapidly. Like 30 pages in, I was fucking cursing the church.
So that's all it took was what the fuck is that guy's name? Richard Dawkins. A bit of
Richard Dawkins, yeah, but it was like I think I was like holding on for dear life to the idea of it. Because I had a fucking pretty shitty life, and I thought maybe it'll get better when you die, and then it turns out it doesn't.
Was it the fear that kept you hanging on? Because a lot of people just scared of going to hell, right? And that's why they hold on to religion for so long.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I got really hammered with religion my whole life, so it was just one of those things that I just thought it was pretty normal.
Yeah.
And then I was actually having, you remember Lulu?
Yeah.
I was having dinner at her parents' place, and I started talking about my experiences in the church, and her mum was fucking mortified.
Right.
And I was like, what? This isn't normal? And she's like, oh, no.
What kind of experiences are you talking about?
Well, like in year 7, my teacher called my mum and told her that I was demon possessed.
Oh,
Jesus! And
yeah, I was 11. I was 11.
I still tell people you're demon possessed, but
oh well, if they're real, it's possible. But so the teacher called my mum, and it was all because I was drawing these characters out of graphic novels, and that was it. And then that happened again in year 10, and the teachers tried to perform an exorcism on me.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, they were like praying over me and speaking in tongues and shit. And I was just like, yeah, this is totally normal, but it's really not. It's quite fucked up.
Yeah.
Did they bring in a special priest to do the exorcism, or they were just doing it themselves?
No, it was just 2 teachers just going for it.
Fucking hell.
Damn, isn't that illegal?
Yeah. Probably. It's got to be some form of child abuse.
Yeah. I feel like you couldn't get away with that today, even if it was a school of special character.
They're getting away with it for sure. They're for sure getting away with it.
Yeah, right.
Like those
The
charter schools.
Yeah.
Dude, the school I went to is like a Pentecostal church school.
Yeah.
So they had I know years after I left, they had something where if the students got caught fucking, they got expelled. Like, not in school, because obviously that's problematic.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't
just in general.
Yeah, yeah.
No, like outside of school, if someone said, those 2 fucked, then they're out, they're gone.
Damn. I know this guy, a good family friend, so I won't mention him. But we've known this.
Well, you are mentioning him. That's literally what you're
That's what I was just thinking. You're mentioning him right now.
Okay. I know of this person.
We understood what you were saying, but you're in the company of assholes.
I know of this person that I don't really know. They have nothing to do with my family.
Is this Dan you're talking about?
Yeah. So Dan was brought up in a real rough family, right? And all his role models and aunties, uncles and shit, they're all been to prison or were in prison, all alcoholics. And he was very much headed that way as well. And at some point in his life, he found the church, and he made heaps of improvements on himself. But
yep.
The motivations were wrong, and also he was never insulated with the knowledge that he'd done that work himself, that he deserved credit for changing his life. And so
Yeah.
anyhow, he hooked up with a girl from the church and went to the pastor because you have to tell the pastor about the intimate details of your life. And they kicked him.
It's weird.
Yeah, they kicked him out, and he spiraled and like
Religion's weird.
got hooked on meth and shit, and but
Wow.
they didn't care because he broke the rules. Like,
Well, my my stepkids, their grandfather, like I call them my kids, but when we talk about this kind of thing, that I have to be clear because their granddad got caught fucking dudes, and he was like an elder in the church, so he was like one of the people that spiritual advisor of a lot of people
Yeah.
that made decisions in the church with the money and everything.
yeah,
And they made him stand up in front of the whole church, and it's like a 1,000 or 1,500 person church, and like tell everyone what he'd been doing.
Jesus.
so you just get up and be like,
Yeah.
been asked
Well,
to front up.
I-
Been fucking hella
They
dope.
just passed it off. They passed it off to the devil. The devil did it.
Yeah,
It's weird because
Yeah.
when I think about Australia, it seems like the last place that God would ever come to. Don't you think? Like it's the most
It's not a
godless,
great.
most
It's
godless
pretty
place.
godless.
oh hell yeah.
Yeah, but it's a pretty.
I mean,
it's a
I
secular
really like
nation.
aspects of Australia, but it's not like a god. It doesn't feel like there's religion. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
It's-
remember the guy of the commune who claimed he was Jesus Christ? And I was just like, dude, that's not gonna fly because you're in Australia. Everyone knows Jesus Christ wouldn't return to Australia.
Dude, he's on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, I thought he was up those ways.
He's in Kingaroy.
Is that you familiar with the place?
He's got yeah, okay, so he's like, yeah, I am. And what's even crazier is that one of Belle's really good friends, she went there and rescued her brother from there.
Oh shit!
from the cult.
His mum is in the cult.
Damn.
Shit.
She like drove there and picked him up and was like, "We're fucking out of here."
So terrifying.
It's really hectic. Yeah, that guy's he's still out there. He like carved a cross into the earth.
Oh yeah.
Like they're in a forest with a big cross, but I don't know which way he put it because maybe it's inverted. I don't
It's
know.
good to have a project.
Yeah,
There's
I
other-
think there's a couple of people from Australian bands that might end up at the helm of a cult. I won't name names, but
Yo,
Do you think?
being a like
Okay.
front man for a band, not talking about you here.
Have you said
but-
what Joel's band is?
Oh,
yet?
the Amity Affliction.
So you might maybe we'll have to say it in the intro proper.
But being a front man,
Make a note of that, Dan.
being front man of a band requires some like cult energy.
you reckon?
It doesn't require it, but a lot of people.
You've seen me on stage. There's no cult energy.
Yeah, your fans would like it to be though.
I know, but I'm sorry. Sorry to let them down.
But yeah, I wasn't talking so much about your band, but there's other bands where the
Ollie could start a cult.
Oh hell yeah,
Who?
Yeah,
Oliver Sykes.
Oliver Sykes.
Who's that?
Bring Me Singer.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, they're one of the biggest bands in the world, but
Bring me.
you know,
Yeah,
Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh. Well, when you say that, then they bring me like I fucking don't know what you're talking about.
well, that's just what everyone calls them because you
Yeah.
just shorten everything down. You know, it sounds
Yeah,
sounds preposterous.
Joel's band's Amity. Yeah, because I think what
Yeah.
happened, there was a period and everyone's like, oh, your band name has to be a full sentence. And then
Oh man,
perhaps a few years later, everyone was like, that's too much words.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and rightly so.
I don't really listen to music anymore. I was thinking about that when I was taking the dog for a walk before, and I was thinking what we could talk about. And I was like, I don't really listen to music anymore.
I listen to podcasts,
Yeah, same.
Same, more than
Just-
music.
just-
My own horrible thoughts.
politics,
Yeah.
No,
politics on repeat.
I like a bit of a mindless podcast too, though. That's why I like MMA podcasts because it's just sort of stupid and endless.
I don't
Endless.
understand the MMA. It's just a whole bunch of people wrestling on the ground. There's so much wrestling.
There's a lot of
They
punching
do a
in
lot
the
of
face as
fighting
well.
on their feet. Yeah.
I like it because when I was young, like you'd watch martial arts movies, and some of your friends would do martial arts, and you'd say who would win out of these fights, and you'd never know. And it just seemed like it could never happen, and then suddenly it was happening, and it was really weird.
True.
Me and Todd were talking before about before you came on about the sort of nature of success and how it's
Nice
never,
segue.
and but yeah, so success and how it's sort of like it's never what you think it's going to be like. No matter. I mean, obviously you've experienced a lot more success than I have, but even what I've done, it's like you get there and you're like, oh, shit.
It's all the same.
I'm still here, and I've still got to deal with all the same shit that I was dealing with before.
Yeah. It's all the same though, success. Once you've reached some level of success, then you've that's it. Once you've done it once, you've tasted it. It doesn't change. There's no like level of it. And then when you're in it, it doesn't matter. Like you said, because you just have the same shit happening.
It's very...
Yeah, I mean, I guess to some extent, it's like that thing that people say. They say the difference between making, like your happiness goes up every $10,000, extra $10,000 you earn a year to about $70K. And then beyond that, they reckon that it doesn't really make much difference to your overall happiness. And I imagine it would probably be like that with success, right? Because when you're doing something and you're sort of like, I can get 100 people to a show, but no one really gives a fuck. It's kind of like, it's pretty demoralizing.
That's true.
But
I still experience that. So we play, we're successful, but we're by no means like, if we stayed as successful as we are now, which is possible, and never got any bigger, then I would be touring until I couldn't tour anymore physically.
Yeah.
Because we're not at any sort of level where we can relax.
Yeah, your level of success demands a lot of you and the band, right? Like
yeah.
Crazy
and like
touring schedule.
Yeah, so the touring schedule will never stop unless we get much, much bigger. But then you got like, the bigger people get, the more money they spend, and then they find themselves in the same predicament where they've got to keep touring to keep paying for the life that they've chosen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. How long do you want to continue for? I'm pretty sure knowing you've had many moments where you've wanted to not continue.
Oh, every year.
Yeah.
Every year. But then last year it was more pronounced because I was put in a situation with Belle because we've got a little kid and she gets pretty fucking sick of me being on tour, and it just got too much for her, and she was just like, you need to do something else. And I actually like had to consider it, and it didn't go very well. I was just like, well, I have to do this. So if you can't be with me while I'm doing it, then I guess that's that.
Yeah.
And I'm very like, I'm a fatalist. So I was like, well, that's it. We're done. This sucks. I may as well die is what I was thinking. And it wasn't quite so bad. And we discussed it further the next day. but that's not how my mind works. So.
Yeah. You have other creative avenues that you could...
I do. And I can't imagine I would be... I wouldn't be fucked if the band finished today, but I would be in a mental predicament, which is what's sort of happening right this second, actually, because I just don't know what's going on.
Is that?
And I don't think we'll play a show for a whole year.
Yeah. So is that freaking you out or making you uncomfortable?
I don't know. I wouldn't attribute that entirely to what is happening, but it's definitely quite problematic to be wondering about the thing that you've been doing for 16 years solid not happening.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because your guys' bread and butter is what, the States and Europe, or?
Yeah. But I mean, Australia pays for everything, and it only just this year was going to be the first year of like nice, like a cushy year for the band. where we had money in the bank and
Right.
didn't have to stress out.
Yeah.
And things just are different than that now. So I don't know when we'll be able to go back to America. They're so fucked. It's
Yeah.
the most fucked country.
Yeah, you have a strange relationship with that country, don't you?
Yeah, like it has a place in my heart, and I hate it all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's easy when you're not brought up in that American system to see how stupid it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
but then when you, the people that can see how stupid it is that are American are just vilified as fucking far left Marxists, basically.
Mm.
Which they probably are, but still.
I guess at the same time, though, I'm sure that there's, you could look at any other country and there's, indoctrination that we don't see being from New Zealand or Australia or wherever.
No, I think we see it. Because do you like your system?
No.
I guess if you mean in that ultra nationalistic way, but there's still parts of being a New Zealander. I know that's a ridiculous thing to say, but there's attributes that lots of New Zealanders have, which I didn't realise was even a thing until you go travelling and you're like, oh, not everyone's mumbling and depressed all the time. Like.
Well, why are you talking to us?
Do you know what I mean, though? Like, I think that there's obviously. I was surprised when I went to the States how friendly everyone was. Because we went to the first.
Because you got a good accent.
You reckon? No,
and they think maybe this guy's not a fuckwit.
People do tend to like New Zealanders from what I've experienced around the world.
Yeah.
Like they find out and they'll be pretty happy about it on quite a few occasions.
Yeah. It's funny that like when you're in Europe, the most hated people are for sure Americans.
Mm. Absolutely.
And in France particularly, they're really not fucking with American people.
Yeah. You must have walked through like some German cities with a drunk real bad and buttons or being super loud, right? I think we might have on
I think
occasion.
we did it together.
Yeah, we're going to the beer house.
Yeah, I don't know, but we ended up throwing so many cafe chairs around. Like it was because we stayed in that the fucking hostel that felt like a 5-star hotel.
Oh yeah, that was wild.
Living, had a pool and a bar. We were like, oh my god, it's fucking lit in Berlin. Yeah.
So I did my first, for the listeners, I did my first ever trip and tour of Europe with Joel, and it was a pretty fucking big experience for a guy from
everyone.
and
is that when you went on tour with your Beats on your phone?
Yeah, I think I had my Beats in a fucking iPhone 5.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
JJ told me you didn't put on flight mode.
That tour was insane because it really sucked for everyone except these nuts.
Yeah.
Why didn't it suck for them?
They were getting big over there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for the time they were quite big, but the Europeans are funny. They don't branch out much in music. So rap and emo and weird emo mosh weren't for them.
It was a real mixed bag of shows.
Emo mosh.
Yeah, in Endwell, real bad old band.
I've got a question. I've been for you, Joel. I've signed up to a online drawing course. I need to buy some pens. What kind of pens should I get to draw with?
Micron.
Hey, is this?
What?
Are you being serious?
Yeah, I've signed up to an online drawing course.
This is an ad.
Yeah.
Is this a segue into an ad?
Sponsored by Macron.
Yeah, but we don't make it look. We make it kind of subtle, so the people who are
Emmanuel Macron.
Dan's gonna have to edit this out. No, because I was thinking I just wanted to learn something new. Because for the longest time I was like, I want to get better at writing. I want to get better at writing. I want to get better at writing. And then you sort of get to a point where obviously you're still improving, but it's like, you could do some other things.
I always think I want to get better at writing, and then I'll send you something, and you'll be like, "It's not that good." And then I go, "I guess I'll get better next year."
That's not true. I always give you constructive criticism, and I say, "Come back to me," and you never do.
Yeah, but I'm a fatalist. So you say this is pretty good, but this could be better, and I go, "Oh my god, it's the worst thing that's ever been written," and I should stop.
But I think writing, if you aren't good with rejection, is the worst art form because it's all about rejection, way
Well,
more
it's
than
good
music.
when you're writing lyrics and people have some nice things to say about them. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part of writing.
Well, yeah, that I guess writing songs is where you'll probably get the most kindness because I think your average music listener's not a discerning critic of.
I think you would be surprised.
Oh, they're out there.
Yeah.
But you
But
know,
the people that think it's good generally don't say much.
Yeah,
It's like
sure.
Yelp reviews. Like you don't go or TripAdvisor. If you're not a fucking weirdo, you don't go like you don't go, oh fuck, that was a yum coffee. I'm gonna log on. I'm gonna log online and fucking tell everyone that will read this. Yum coffee. Like only fucking psychopaths do that.
Yeah.
But if you have a really shitty experience, you will let people know.
Yeah,
But I think the difference is that, you know, like you can come up with 2 good lines for a song and then pad it out with some other just filler, and that's
That's
fine.
true.
Whereas, you know, obviously
That's
with
true.
something that's just on the page, you can't really have
Yeah.
have that in the same way. I mean, people do all the time, obviously, but it's frowned
I
upon.
would hate to admit that, but I will admit it.
Yeah, you can just win the day with like one standout line in the song, and
It's true. You can win the day.
yeah, that particular day, win it.
Oh shit! I
One
tell you,
good one.
whenever I'm writing lyrics, I'm not winning anything.
Yeah.
I have to be in a very particular mood to write them. It's not.
So do you write all the lyrics for your band?
I do. Yes.
Your other singer doesn't write any lyrics. So for the listeners,
I've written.
the band has
I've written
2 singers.
I've written every single word except for one song, and I let Aaron and Helmet. You know Helmet, don't you?
I know
You remember
Helmet.
him?
I know
Yeah,
Context
yeah.
for listeners, Helmet's a fucking maniac.
He's like a Tasmanian devil,
Yeah.
but
Right.
like the cartoon kind, not the real kind.
Yeah.
Anyway, I let him and Aaron. Well, I didn't let them actually. I came to the studio when we were doing Severed Ties, and they were like, "We wrote this song," and they wrote it for 3 people, and then I had to sing it live for the next fucking 4.5, 5 years, and oh my god,
What's some of the lyrics?
I don't know. I never really. I didn't care to delve in. I asked them what they were about, and they said nothing. And I said, "Who wrote them?" And they said, "We both did." And I was like, "Okay." But we were so drunk during that recording. It was like we didn't think anyone would ever give a fuck about us, so we were still very much not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And the album came out the way it did.
So what kind of pens?
Came out like-
Macrons.
Micron.
Dan,
Yeah.
can you make a note of that?
Okay.
Micron.
Micron.
Sounds like something
Yes.
you can't afford, Dom.
I was just thinking that.
No, they're like $27 for a full pack on Amazon.
How many did you get in a pack?
You get like a solid one, which is like a 1, it's called, and then you get like a 0.8, a 0.5, a 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, and then you get like 0.005, 0.003.
Means nothing to me, but
I know it does. It's like it doesn't matter. It goes from fat to skinny.
Sweet. Macrons.
Yes. Micron.
Macron. Because
Yeah, sure.
I signed up to this course. It's this Spanish guy. It's all subtitled. He's this like eccentric little fat Spanish guy. And he
Does he
he's
get
gonna
nude?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't started the course yet because I don't have any pens. I realized there's not a single pen in this whole house.
Dom's first
Right.
project is to draw Dan naked with his cat over his crotch for the podcast logo. So
We haven't got a logo
Nice.
yet, but we've found a logoist who's going to...
A logoist.
Yeah, he's going to sort of... That's a professional term.
You know, that is a specialty because people came to me for logos, and my God, I was never good at it.
Yeah, well, we got one. I've started a publishing press house thing, and
Yeah?
the guy that we went to, it was all, like What am I trying to say?
Do you want to publish my book? It's 1/24 finished.
Did you see the Maniacs in Melbourne on? Was it on
Yes.
the day before they were announcing like a ease of restrictions?
Yeah.
The
What was it?
Maniacs.
But do you know who organised it?
They had an anti-lockdown protest on in Melbourne.
Do you know who organised it?
Who?
You know, there's some like celebrity chef who just convinced.
Was it Jonah Weinhofen?
What? Is he?
He's an anti-vaxxer.
Is he?
Mm.
I mean,
Fuck, you're terrible at giving context, Todd.
Jonah Weinhofen's another band guy.
Yeah, I know who it is, but no one else does it.
There's lots of. We're just going to drop band names. We're just dropping.
This is what.
names.
So for the whole podcast, because we're sort of getting back into this. We haven't done it for about 4 years, and it's like.
Well, we haven't seen each other in about 4 years. So
I haven't seen you in about 10 years.
Like,
I was trying to think of the last time I
like
saw you, and I think
up.
it was that time that everyone took acid, and except
Oh,
for
that
me.
was horrible. You were just
took morphine.
fucking with everyone.
I was having a good time. I was having a good old time, but Todd had a deep introspection, and you couldn't.
JJ left.
You couldn't put your shirt on.
That's right.
JJ left the house.
Yeah, and Aaron hid under a blanket and was
did.
all he could say was "help me."
Yeah, because he was looking at that the painting by what's his name? The Converge singer.
Must have been quite strong acid.
Oh,
well,
man.
I gave Aaron 2. He'd never had it before.
He'd never had acid before. He took 2 tabs. Jesus.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing, and I did. So I thought, here, experience it to the. Have a great time.
I've done a few acids in my time, but
I love acid.
Yeah, that one when it kicked in, I was like, "Holy shit! This must be like like the acid my parents did." Because it
was fun.
See, I had
Holy
at about 4 o'clock, I was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to go to bed." And then I woke up in the morning after a nice relaxing sleep, and Todd's just still sitting there going, "Is everything all right? What's going on?" Like, you're a mess, weren't you?
We
had to play a show the next day.
That must have been entertaining for the crowd.
I fell asleep at 8 a.m. and lobby call was at 8:30.
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we walked downstairs and they were just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And we were like, oh, it's a long story. Aaron and I ended up watching Tim and Eric in our hotel room, and it was like watching fucking National Geographic.
Oh, jeepers.
Like, everything made sense. I was like, this is funny. This is normal. No, there's a whole train full of cattle.
Fuck, you're going to have your work cut out for you with this, Dan. If you're editing.
It'd be like an art project.
You can remix it.
So what are you working on now that you don't have to worry about being in a band anymore?
I'm working on how to have money.
Yeah.
It's my new project. That's an absurdly loud train. How's that? Better?
Dan's making a note. Look at him.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan.
It's all right.
This is what he
Great
lives
introduction.
for. This is what he lives for. Don't worry about Dan.
Making this pure hell for you.
Dan said, I can't wait to come back and edit out all the stupid things that you say.
Me?
No, me, but you know, all of us.
Take your pick.
The general you.
Yeah. Well, so what am I working on right now? I'm actually having a bit of a mental breakdown, so I'm trying to work on things, which means working on nothing.
Sounds like you need a break.
Well, I'm having a break. It's been forced upon me, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's different from a break you take by choice, isn't it?
Yeah, and I like to keep very busy. Like I'm creative in like various different ways. So yeah, when I have to not do anything, it actually becomes quite problematic.
Yeah. When were you diagnosed with bipolar 2?
Year and a half ago.
Also quite recently.
Yeah, because I had a full-on like meltdown during the recording of Misery. Like, couldn't move off the floor for a while. Got trapped on the floor, curled up, and then was like I really wanted to go home and I couldn't. I was in Toronto on my own, finishing up recording, and yeah, just had a really big mental breakdown and didn't know what was going on. I was like fucking really close to killing myself, and got home, and Caleb, who was our manager, was like, so I'm going to book you in with this psychiatrist. And, I went there and talked to him for an hour, and he was like, oh, yeah, you've got bipolar 2. I was like, oh, well, that explains everything. It's actually a bit of a relief.
Yeah, has that helped much, or?
Well, I mean, I'm on medication now, and I don't know. I think it obviously works different for different people, but for me, it just gives me a bit of perspective. It's like, or more like, not perspective, but I can sort of like step back from my emotions and see what's going on. So I understand. Like right now, I understand I'm having a depressive episode.
Yeah,
I can't do anything about it, but I can acknowledge what's going on and sort of do things that can try and like bring me out of it quicker.
Yeah.
One of the problems for me, especially, is that once you've had a depressive episode, you're really prone to having another one within 6 months.
Yeah.
If you don't have any structure to your life, it's very hard to avoid it. And so, luckily for me, I have zero structure, so I have these about like 4 to 5 times a year. Shit. So every couple of months, it can be like 3 days. A really bad one is like a month. But every 2 or 3 months, I am enjoying the spoils of my childhood.
Yeah, well,
man.
I had a family member diagnosed recently, a close family member, and so as soon as I found out, this is real recently, I did some reading, and like the first thing I read was something that was kind of like, oh, bipolar 2 is not as bad as bipolar 1, and like it played it down a little at first, and I was like, everyone I know with bipolar 2 often wants to kill themselves. So it's pretty bad from my judgment. And then it did go on to say that, yeah, you've got it for life, right? Generally.
Yeah, and it's like, so bipolar 1 is like all the coverage you see on TV shows and movies where they go, oh, he's got bipolar. It's like bipolar 1 they've got, which is where you have like manic episodes of like a lot of people go on like real psychotic gambling runs and or take really massive risks with their life or finances or relationships or stuff like that. So that's like a really bad manic episode, whereas my manic episodes are like, so like all of a sudden I own a motorbike and I nearly bought a fucking puppy, and like it's just fucked. Like the other day I walked into the garage and was just staring at this motorbike. I'm like, what? Like what? Why do I have that? Like, why did I do that? Like, I woke up one day, I booked in to get my motorbike license, and then 6 days later, I was riding a motorbike.
Yeah,
that's just something I did on a whim without thinking about it. And then I was like frantically looking for border collie puppies. And I kept trying to buy them, and it luckily it didn't work out. And then I Belle came upstairs, and I was just sitting there in my chair, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Why am I trying to buy a dog?" She goes, "I don't know. You've been a little bit." I'm like, "I'm being crazy, aren't I?" She goes, "A little bit." And I was like, fuck.
So
yeah.
Mentioning Belle, she I've met her very briefly, but from an outside perspective, she's been a very stabilizing force in your life, and you've made a lot of changes and improvements in your life, right, since you guys got together.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was one I'm like an alcoholic as well,
Yeah.
and alcoholic with undiagnosed bipolar, not a great combo. And so I like really like nearly fucked up our relationship basically, and sort of came to a point where it was like drinking or family. And luckily for me, I'd met my dad after not having him in my life at all, and he'd been sober for 11 years. And then so I met him like 3 months before this all happened. And I called him, and he was just like, "Oh, you can do what I did, or you can stop drinking." And I was like, "Yeah, true." We just had Bowie, and I was like, "All right, well, I don't want him to have my life," so I stopped drinking. So she has been overwhelmingly good.
Yeah. Was having your son a big part of the reason you reconnected with your dad? Because when I met you might have hated your dad as much as you hated God when I met you.
I think I hated. Well, I think a lot of that came from my hatred of religion. Made me resentful of my mother, and then I got like furious at my dad for leaving because I don't know. I guess I sort of attributed some savior-like qualities to him, perhaps like he should have been there to save me from this religious bullshit and blah blah blah. But it turns out that when he left, it wasn't of his own accord, but the church that Mum had joined bought him a one-way ticket to New Zealand.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and he was a weak alcoholic man, so he just I'm like him, and he's a fatalist. So it's just he just went, that's it then, and just left. Even though that wasn't it, but it was for him at the time, and so that's what happened there. And when I found that out, I was obviously more thrilled with religious people and Christianity in general. The great family values.
Yeah, right.
Sort of espouser of our world.
Do you feel like, I guess, having that religious upbringing and all the trauma and stuff that comes from that, like, has that closed the door to other kind of spirituality or like, I guess, practices like meditation and stuff, which have a kind of spiritual aspect to it, or you?
Meditation is not for me. I don't. Yeah. My brain wouldn't. But it doesn't. It doesn't quiet down in that way. Like I still do graffiti and painting is like my psychologist was like, "Oh, that's your meditation. That's like a physical meditation."
Yeah.
Because I don't switch off when I'm painting. Like all I think about is the piece and what the paint's doing, my arms doing, and all that kind of stuff. So I've got that. I'm pretty closed off to spirituality. I feel like it's pretty black and white, I don't. If we're obviously conscious, and I don't see how consciousness as we are, so as Dominic and Todd and Joel, carries on when you're dead. You know what I mean?
What about Dan?
Sorry, Dan.
Dan doesn't count.
I did think about Dan.
Dan transcends consciousness.
Well, I'm really bad with names, and I thought it was Dan, and then I didn't want to get it wrong. So,
are you an atheist? No.
I am an atheist. Yeah. How about you, Dan? Yeah.
See, I was raised like strictly atheist, like just I think maybe because my dad was raised Catholic, and so there was just nothing. Everything was science, right?
That's what Bowie's getting, and the kids, the other kids.
But in my old age, I guess because I've got into meditation and having a chronic illness, you sort of. We were talking about this in the last podcast, that actually you become open to things that there's just no way I would have been open to before. Cranial sacrum therapy is one of them. Like, I don't really understand what the fuck it is, but it's just like this thing where you go lie on this bed and this person kind of meditates and holds different parts of your body. And when someone said, look, I'll give you a free session, and I was just like,
Is that like Reiki?
Nah, it's
like
different than
Reiki?
Reiki. I feel like maybe Reiki's bullshit, but I don't know. But this
Don't they
anyway.
just hold their hand over your head?
Nah, so they hold your ankles, they hold underneath your spine, and they hold the back of your neck.
Are
And so
they
the first-
police?
What's that?
Are they police?
Let me tell my story, motherfucker. Anyway,
Sorry.
so I went and got the session right, and I was super skeptical, and I was like, this is probably bullshit, but this woman that offered it to me was super nice. And I went and did it, and she was like, I didn't tell her anything about my condition or nothing. And then she was like, at the end of it, she was like, oh, you had a sore hip. Your hip's not going to hurt anymore. And my hip has deteriorated, like I got massive arthritis in my hip. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. But I hadn't said anything to her about it. And I got up and and it's never been bad again. And there's just been a series of things like that. And the same, I went and did a Vipassana meditation thing, and it just fucking changed. And I don't know, it's
But
weird.
do you think? I don't think that's spiritual.
But it's not spiritual either, though. Do you know what I mean? It's something in between. And I'm sure that there's probably someone smarter than me that actually has terms for these things. But I guess because I've been so walled off to it because of the way I
I was
brought
going to
it.
say something really cynical then and just
No,
say
go on, tell me.
Yeah, say it.
placebo.
Placebo? Maybe.
Well, that's what makes it hard to know, right? If you're kind of aware of placebo effect, then, you know. But I mean, but if something works with placebo effect, then it's still good.
It works.
Right? Yeah.
Of course, it's great, and who cares?
But it's also, I guess, it's the idea as well that there's obviously infinite amount of things that science can't explain at this point that exist. And there's every chance that, you know, that it's possible to tap into those.
But I don't think there is a God being.
No.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that to be at all possible.
Apart from
No,
Dan, none of
anyway.
us think that.
It wouldn't make any sense, or it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It makes
No.
zero sense.
No.
And
'cause
and
life-
what's more is like the things that science can't explain now, it's still trying to explain constantly. And so at some point, things that we're blown away by now may not be crazy.
Sure.
What just made you
In the
pick up
future.
the God delusion when you were like a
What-
Christian?
Oh, I was into hardcore, and this band called Her Nightmare were fucking getting pretty big, and
Were they teasing you?
they were like, hey?
Were they teasing you?
No, they weren't. But Boehner got up and burnt a Bible at this hardcore fest, and I was just like, "That's pretty cool. Why is he doing that?" And then I was like, and then because everyone was like, "Fuck, it's crazy!" He got on stage and burnt this Bible, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Maybe I like the idea of burning a Bible." And I can't remember who I was talking to, but someone was just like, "Read this," and then I read it, and I was fucking furious, livid.
Man,
Couldn't believe it.
How do you feel about Richard Dawkins now, though? Because he's sort of shown himself
Oh,
to
he's
be a bit of a
he's
fuckwit.
such a prick. Yeah.
Because I read that book too. I actually read it at your house, Todd, when I came and stayed with you in Melbourne. I don't know if I brought it or you had it.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
It just did the rounds, I think. It's
Yeah.
just one of those things.
But I remember being like, hey, this is cool. I'm into this. And then watching videos of him being like, this guy sucks, man. You know what I
Someone-
mean?
yeah.
Someone left it in
Yeah.
the boot of my car, and that
Was
made
it
me,
you, Joel?
that
Probably
made
me.
that made me wonder: is God real?
Yeah.
Found this.
I,
But you
car.
had some dalliances with religion, though, Todd. Remember when you didn't
Yeah.
believe in evolution and JJ wouldn't let you back in the car till you said that evolution's real?
Yeah, no, I was indoctrinated in periods of my life as a young person.
Wait a second.
People were trying to put the bro Jesus Christ deep inside me.
Yeah.
That sounds like a reversed story.
What do you
No, we were in
Ah.
what's that? We were in Sydney, and we'd done a show, and then Todd. Somehow, I think I might have mentioned on stage, or somehow it came up that Todd didn't believe in evolution, and JJ said you can't get in the car until you say that evolution is real.
I feel like that was in New Zealand and not with JJ. But I could
Well,
be
no, it was
wrong.
with JJ. We were just on that. Remember, we went on the tour with these nuts, and no one came to the shows, and JJ got really upset, and then we were taking the ecstasy that didn't work the whole
Yeah.
time.
Oh, wow. Double
But
whammy.
But every night we'd be like, oh, maybe it'll work now.
Sounds like a bad night. But
It was all right.
Joel, have you ever considered, how that was kind of your genesis into saying fuck God? What was the band called? Her Nightmare?
Yeah.
Perhaps when you guys are back at River Stage next, get the kidnap the Jesus character from Sunny Coast and just like light him up on stage.
Wow. That's some like. You've been listening to Cage again.
Nah, because he's gone all weird, hasn't he?
He's like real alt-right now, eh?
He does seem that way, yeah.
I think maybe he was always a fuckwit, but
Made good music.
You reckon?
he's
You say Cage.
he's good at rapping, so I overlooked it for a while.
Yeah, Cage. Yeah.
Like with him in Cage.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But there was a long period of time where pretty much every rapper was a fuckwit, apart from, maybe Andre 3000 seemed like he was always nice.
But he's like a New York underground rapper. You can't expect him to be a good person.
Yeah, but even like mainstream, like who between like sort of 93 and I don't know 2005, like what rappers were like sort of espousing anything that you'd sort of agree with in a conversation?
Future the other day on Twitter like said thanks to all like the different mothers of his kids for Mother's Day. I think I saw at least 5 tweets to different women.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cute. But
I
they were all personalized too. Like they mentioned the kids, the mom, and like how he appreciated them and shit. I was like, yeah, Future's a role model.
Yeah. I don't know. No musician is a role model?
Well, no one. Don't you think that no one's a role model? I think
No,
having
I
heroes
don't
and
believe
role
that
models
to be.
is problematic.
I don't believe that to be true though, because you can be a role model on a different level. When you're removed from someone, so when you've got someone that's in a famous or public place, and you try and project what you want onto them, creating a role model that way, then I don't think it's possible. But you can definitely have a role model in real life.
Yeah.
No, but I guess I phrased that wrong. I guess I was thinking more like having a hero.
Having a hero is stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is though that people, it's weird with music is that it seems to be the art form that everyone forgets that it's an art form. Do you know what I mean? Like the sort of
I know.
way that
you've
people
written a
look
song
up.
about that.
What's that?
Have you written a song about that or a poem?
I don't know. I've written so much
I don't
crap
know.
in my time. But anyway, I don't know. I just think about that a lot because people are like, this person did this thing, and it's like, yeah, but it's just an artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And artists are very well known for doing very stupid shit.
All the time. But being an artist is a fucking stupid thing.
It's true.
Well,
But you can't help
Like
it.
no one in their right mind would fucking be like, hey, I'm gonna do this really
a disability.
unstable thing. Yeah.
it's crazy to like the level that, personally speaking, I've done music, and some of the kind of things you get afforded, just even at the level I've done it, I'm like, this is a bit silly. Like all right, taking a person with a fucking predisposition to violence and just saying, oh, here's all this free booze, and you can kind of like be a bit of a dickhead at the venue or whatever.
And it's fine.
And it's fine. So, like, I can't imagine, like, if I'd had big success with music when I was younger, it would have been a fucking disaster for sure.
Yeah, you'd either be dead or you'd have killed someone.
Yeah, something bad would have happened.
Maybe not.
I tried
Maybe
to. I don't know. I tried to die a few times and it didn't work. So you never know. You might get lucky. You have gotten lucky,
Do you remember
like me.
we pushed the car in the river?
We did.
Yeah,
That was fun.
that was
You pushed
fun.
a car into a river.
Yeah,
Yes,
That would have been fun.
yeah,
it was
real fun.
funny. I feel like that car was for sure stolen and left there during the show, and
I
then
think-
we were just the crowning glory.
I feel like you tell yourself that to feel better about it.
I don't care about it.
Oh, you don't? Yeah. Yeah, why would you care?
No, I don't have any feelings one way or another about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was very funny.
It was hilarious.
That poor
Yeah.
person's car.
That whole tour was like what people think tour is. Was that tour?
I
It's
reckon
only
my
one
car's
I've
the
ever
kind of
done.
car that someone would push into a river, and I just think how upset I'd be if I came
No,
out.
this was a nice car.
Oh,
It
really?
was, it was
Mine's
not
not a nice car.
This
It was
wasn't
not
a
a poor
poor
person's
person's
car.
car.
Mine's the worst car wherever I go.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm working with the kids and they're like, which one's your car? And I'm just like, find the shittest car in the car park.
Joel knew that without having any idea of what car you have.
Yeah, but I feel like even if you could afford a really good car, you probably wouldn't. You'd just buy the shit one.
Probably, but I don't know. I have a tendency to impulse purchases, like you was talking about with
Really?
the motorbike.
Mm.
I bought like
Yeah, but I wasn't in my right mind when I did that. Now I have a motorbike and a motorbike license.
Do you ride your motorbike?
I've been riding it, yeah.
Well, see, it's funny that you say that though, because when you were talking about the episodes where you do strange things, I was like, these kind of sound like things Dom would do. And I was like, he's just got this replacement dog, and now he's taking up illustrating. And I'm like, fuck, does Dom have BP too?
I bought so many track pants as well. I
Yeah.
bought
Did
5
you?
pairs of track pants. What's that, Joel?
Track pants. I bought a... what did I buy?
Trackies. You got trackies over there.
I've bought some funny things recently.
Do you want to know a funny story about Australian track pants?
Yeah.
Sure.
When I was about 23...
Does it involve scurvy?
No, this is post-scurvy.
Okay.
I moved to Australia, and I had just got these new these bright red, shiny Echo track pants, and in New Zealand they were dope. Like when I'd wear them places, people were like, wow, those pants are dope. And I got to
remember those
Australia,
pants.
and
They
all
were
the
sick.
junkies had those same pants. Like,
Oh, I remember those pants because you're wearing them in the photo shoot where you're sitting on all the trash.
yeah.
And I remember I was like, fuck, Dom doesn't need those pants. I should have them.
Yeah, see? New Zealanders love them. Australians gave me so much shit. I wore them to some hardcore show and everyone was teasing me the whole time going, Jason.
Man, you were 10 years too early. They would have loved those pants 10 years later at the hardcore show.
Yeah, well,
Hardcore is weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
Yeah, it's
It's
very
a strange,
clicky.
it's a strange scene.
I'm glad that I was kind of in and out of that community.
Yeah, but rap and hardcore are not much different, really.
In New Zealand,
Yeah,
they're
that's
pretty
real
different.
different.
Like there's
Yeah.
there's a big class distinction in this country. Well, there was when we were doing it. It might not be the same now, but
With hardcore and rap.
hardcore was very middle class, and then rap was very working class. And I remember being at hardcore shows, and I was like, how come I can't? I don't know. You just always felt out of place, and then you're like, oh, because these people,
Right. They have
that way.
stable homes with families,
Yeah, and just kind of
with
like
jobs.
I think it's that thing as well. Like you're trying to make music with people that have proper gear and got lessons and have cars, and you're like trying to get your fucking shitty drum kit to the thing in the fucking taxi or something. You know what I mean? It was just, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I like made incredible friends through the hardcore scene, mostly in Australia rather than New Zealand. But there are many occasions where that was had any kind of affinity to me at all.
I don't think that the people in the respective scenes are necessarily similar, but I think
The
Some of the-
ethos.
some of the core ethos in like being like having positive feelings about crime, for instance. Like that kind of there's that, and then there's like like skateboarding and hardcore and punk and hip hop all have this like counterculture kind of vibe happening at the lower level, at least.
You know what it is? The desire to destroy things, to wreck
Yeah.
things,
Yeah,
to fuck shit up.
yeah. I
I think
still
that's
have
the
that.
common bond. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it occasionally, less so these days, but
I
occasionally.
I'm too
have it.
tired these days.
I have it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was explaining to my nephew today that the baby Louis' baby that I live with needs, like, he has to let her chill sometimes so she can wind down. And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like me. Like, she can only play for a short time. And then
You get to tuck it out.
yeah, then she got to go lie down like Uncle Todd.
I've been getting
Yeah.
I've been getting these emails from Bandcamp for months now, and it says, "Reminder: you've got money from Bandcamp. Bandcamp Incorporated has sent you 0.29 New Zealand dollars."
Fuck
Oh,
yes.
nice.
And I'm just like,
That's not too far off what our first royalty statement from APRA New Zealand was. 27, no, maybe 87 cents or something.
Fuck. Guess you
Yeah.
could say you won the day that day.
We won the day. I laughed very hard.
So I think we're up to about an hour, but I wanted to finish with something, Joel. And the other week, I was talking about experiencing joy, and experiencing joy is a great topic because we've talked about a lot of sad shit. But anyhow, I hadn't seen Joel for many years, and we don't communicate heaps. And when we do, we're often disagreeing.
On rap music.
Yeah, or whatever it is, but in a fun way. But when I finally caught up with you and Aaron and the other guys a few months ago, I spent the next day just being like super appreciative of friendship and people who you might not see for years that you love, and then you see them and it's hilarious and funny and
It
fun.
felt like I saw you the day before.
Yeah, and it was so cool. And then like today, I was like, oh, that's experiencing joy. That's what that is.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Probably because it comes and then you're confused about what is this feeling, and then it goes. It's like being accidentally high.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, what just happened to me? I'll
Yeah.
never know. It may never come back.
No, it will.